Halloween edition of the Squared Circle podcast. I'm Alex, and I'm joined by...
Christina.
And I'm Brad.
Hi, Brad. Welcome to our show. We're so excited to have you.
I'm very excited to be here, guys. How are you?
We're good.
So Brad is our special guest for the evening, and we're going to have a whole bunch of topics to talk about today. So let's start off with the NXT Takeover Respect live special on the network.
I think that the only match I really want to talk about is the Iron Man match. The ladies were absolutely amazing, and of anyone in the history of the Divas, I think that deserved to have an Iron Man match, it was Sasha Banks and Bayley.
I'm going to agree with that. It was a solid showing. It was a really good showing. It was a good match. It was a good story. The issue I had with TakeOver Respect, though, was I get that they had the Dusty Rhodes tournament going on and that, you know, it was supposed to be like to see the finals of who won the actual tournament, right? But this was a card that was way too heavy on tag team wrestling.
I absolutely agree.
You know, I don't dislike tag team matches, but at the same time, to take an entire pay-per-view, or special event, as they're called now, and to have the majority of the matches on it be tag bouts, that didn't appeal to me. The really key selling point to this show was the Iron Woman match, and in that respect, it delivered. But at the same time, to have all these talented teams on this show and to have that heavy a tag match card on it, and also to have two guys who aren't even an actual tag team in the tag division win the trophy at the end, it didn't really make a lot of sense to me. I didn't hate the show overall, but it was just way too tag team heavy for me. That's my opinion on it.
I agree with that, and I thought that them putting the NXT champion into a tag team, which ended up, obviously, like we just said, eventually winning, is odd. You don't usually play down that you're a champion in order to win some random tournament. You allow a tournament to happen to showcase the other talent that isn't currently holding a title or that isn't currently in some sort of a spotlight. So that was a little weird for me as well.
Well, you know, the thing about that is, like, by having Finn in the tag tournament, it almost seemed like they had to find a way to not have him defend the title, as if, like, it would overshadow somehow the women's match. So it's like they were kind of trying to hide him, I guess, in this tournament. But at the same time, I feel like they should have had just the finals maybe on the card, because I know you could tell by the fans, like, they were losing interest, like they weren't as excited for the matches as they were happening. Because they've already seen these guys, and each match was like 10 minutes long, so like they've seen these guys wrestle like 10-20 minutes, the same people on the show. Like, you know, there wasn't as much variety as like a normal special would have.
Haven't we already proven that the Divas in NXT don't get overshadowed? They tend to overshadow every other match, so I don't know why that would even be a concern at this point to play down the NXT champion in order to showcase the girls. Shows that there are still issues in terms of what they think the girls can do in terms of main eventing.
I had a problem also with just the way the main event, or not the main event, sorry, like the finals of the tournament was booked in a sense that they tried doing a storyline where Finn had like a knee injury throughout the show, like after the first match. But when it actually came down to the final match, the finishing sequence, it was like everything of the whole show was totally forgotten. He was running around, he was doing his double stomp and everything. So it felt like just a waste of storyline. They're just talking about his injury just for no reason, because it didn't really play into anything.
His coup de grace isn't exactly a move you want to do when you have a bad knee, right?
Right.
like it's literally a double-footed stomp on the back of a dude's head. It's gonna hurt your knee.
Right.
But
I mean,
yeah,
go ahead.
I'm going to say that out of all the NXT takeovers that they've had on the network so far, and with NXT, this was the weakest card they had.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
That's going to get some hate from any of the NXT fanboys and girls listening to this. But at the same time, you know, it wasn't a good card. Like, when your selling point of the main event got the point across, but at the same time, the rest of the card was just filler, I thought.
there wasn't even a tag team title match, no NXT championship match, which I could maybe understand the NXT tag team situation because they already have enough matches as it is. But it would have been it would have been fine to have the title match if they had only the finals of the tournament and not the semifinals and the final.
And putting the NXT champion in a tag match on a show that is supposed to be, your big event for the month, that's main roster garbage. You don't do that. Like, that's a Vince McMahon move.
Right.
Like, why?
Yeah, unnecessary. I agree. I think it was the weakest show that they've done. I think it's unfortunate because, the Iron Man match was excellent, but it's overshadowed by the rest of the card being really weak, and all you wanted was for it to be over so that the girls could wrestle. So, overall it was okay, but I don't think it was the best one.
And back to what you said, Christina, about women main eventing in NXT. Like, I think that's a great idea. I think it's an awesome concept. But have them do it on a real card. Not one that's bogged down by tag matches where all the boys are going to be in, like, these 10-minute bouts with 4 guys in the ring and nobody can really tell a story at all. Have them, if you really want to push the point across in NXT that you want to have women at the forefront, take an actual, like, NXT Takeover special and put them in the main event on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, don't just have 4 or 5 tag matches with the guys and then, here's an Iron Woman match for the main event. Like, no. If you really want to make a point, have Finn Balor defend the NXT title at the next show against whoever he's feuding with, and then have the girls go on for the main event.
I agree, because it seems like none of the matches were important. There's no stakes on the line, like besides the championship for the Dusty Rhodes. But, I mean, that doesn't lead to anything. It's not like all the winners get opportunity at the tag team titles or anything like that. It was just like, here's the trophy, here's the Andre the Giant Battle Royal thing that leads to nothing. And then, here's the only match that matters. So they should have some competition between, this is a super important NXT championship match. And after this super important NXT championship match, now here come the women for an even more important match.
Well, it's interesting you brought up the Andre the Giant Memorial
the
Battle
most
Royal.
Pointless gimmick in the last
It
5
was
years.
absolutely pointless because they ended up having the actual match during the pre-show. So they showed that there was no importance to it whatsoever. So that was a complete waste. And I think that they softened the card in order to make the girls look better, but no one cared about anything. So by the time the girls match hit, everyone was bored, and they were like, finally we get an individual singles match, and they knew it was going to be good because Sasha Banks and Bayley are amazing. So
now,
that's how I feel about that.
In terms of the main event, what do you guys think was a better match, the Iron Man match or the Takeover Brooklyn match?
Takeover Brooklyn.
Takeover Brooklyn.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely.
By far.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, buddy. You were going. Go
No,
ahead.
it's okay. Go.
But I thought the Takeover Brooklyn match had a way better story going into it, with Bayley being the underdog and Sasha being
The boss.
The boss, and telling her, you're never going to be where I am. You're never going to do this. You've always been held back and all that. It made Bayley seem like an incredible underdog. Like, I actually likened that whole story to what Triple H and Daniel Bryan were doing in 2013 and 14 leading into Mania 30.
You just took that thought literally right out of my brain.
It was awesome. You were so behind Bayley going into that match that there was no way she could lose, really. And when she won and the 4 girls in the ring doing the 4 horsewomen pose, that was awesome. And then you fast forward to Takeover Respect. There really wasn't as much substance to the match. Sure, it was an Iron Woman match, and it was long, and it was proven the girls could go or whatever, and that, that's fine. That's awesome for what it is. But at the same time, there really wasn't much of a story going in. It was Bayley going, hey, I've already beaten you. I can do it again. You want to try? And that was pretty much it.
Mm-hmm.
There's also the fact that that Sasha had been on the main roster now for a month or 2 months or something, and
kind of took the element of surprise out of it.
Yeah, exactly. And you're not expecting her to win because now she's on main roster. She's passed the torch. The belt is with Bayley now. For her to win it back would make no sense because she's on main roster. So why would she suddenly have the NXT championship? So the element of surprise, you're right, was completely taken out of it. I still thought the match was really good. I thought that, they had some highlights, but in terms of overall storyline and emotion and passion and all that good stuff, Brooklyn definitely by far wins.
I mean, in terms of like the actual match content, I felt like the Brooklyn match was a much better in-ring spectacle. But I thought that Sasha's heel work in the Iron Man match was just brought it to a whole new level. Like, because, I mean, you see what she was interacting with Izzy and how she was making her cry like Bayley's biggest fan sitting in the front row. Like
that was hilarious.
That was awesome.
Like,
that was awesome. To sit there and make a kid cry is amazing.
I laughed the hardest I've laughed in a long time at a wrestling show when Sasha walked over to Izzy and took her headband out and made her just bawl.
Just crying in her dad's arms.
It was the funniest thing I've ever seen. And her dad's just looking at Sasha like, you're a terrible woman.
Right. It was some of the best heel work I've ever like seen in so many years. Like, it was so good. And I think like things like that make this match stand out more than the actual in-ring. But in terms of like the actual match itself, I'm going to have to go with Brooklyn.
And I'm going to agree with Big E's post on Twitter a little while ago. The fact that Sasha Banks isn't even in the Divas title picture right now is booty.
Right.
Yep, agreed. They hide her. So every week, okay, we're just going to go into this Divas Revolution thing, might as well.
God.
So, because I'm about to rant.
What revolution?
Well, exactly. So here's the thing. They bring up all these girls. It's supposed to be this amazing revolution. Everyone's really excited because NXT talent is coming up. So finally, we're actually going to see good wrestling. They ruin it by having 3 little teams. One of them are all heels, which is good. One of them is
which one is that? Heel. Because when I watch Raw, I have no idea who the heels, baby faces are. Who
the heels? No.
In case you can't figure it out, the team called Team Bad.
Team Bad are the heels.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
That's funny.
Team Bad are supposed to be the heels
because they have the most over person on their team. So whenever they come out, everybody gets excited because they know Sasha's there.
If she's there, because the thing is that she's usually not there, which leads to during every Divas match for the past 2 months that she hasn't made an appearance in, we want Sasha. We want Sasha. We want Sasha. And yes, we do.
That said, though, you got to figure there's some reason they're not using her as much as they could be. Like, one of my buddies the other day actually said that he thinks it's going to be Paige versus Sasha Banks at Mania 32 for the Divas title, which I am more than okay with because those are easily my 2 favorite divas on the main roster right now. But getting there has been a chore.
Well,
the fact that you're bringing up Becky Lynch, who was insanely over in NXT, who, works her ass off. She's one of the most talented divas they have on their roster. And like Paige said, she's the least relevant of any of them.
She's essentially a cheerleader for Charlotte.
Really?
Like, that's really what she's been doing.
She's a ghost. And by the way, Charlotte as Divas champion has already been a flop.
Oh, big time.
Oh, it's the biggest mistake that they've done.
She is the most... Every time you even look at her, she even looks like Ric Flair.
She does.
It's ridiculous.
She is a taller Ric Flair.
She's a walking Ric Flair tribute. That's all Charlotte
seriously,
is.
that is all she is. And I think that's why she's at the spot she is, because everyone knows Triple H is a huge Ric Flair mark.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But, my God, man, the wooing needs to stop. The whole, if you're going to do it with Flair thing. Are you serious? Give this girl her own personality.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't make her a female version of her dad who happens to be 6 feet tall, Like, have her turn heel. Have her do something cool,
If they were going to have a heel turn, which, I mean, Paige
heel turn was awful.
But you would think out of the 3 of them, it makes sense that it's Paige, right? She's the most likely to be heel, blah, blah, blah. But it wouldn't have been exciting if suddenly Charlotte turns heel or Becky turns heel, someone you're not expecting. But when you do it to the one that you're expecting, and then next week they come out as Team BCB and we're best friends ever and blah, 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 and I'm going to run out and celebrate that you just beat Nikki Bella, for like a month, and then suddenly there's another turn. Guess what? We no longer care. It does not matter.
How are Charlotte and Becky so dumb to the fact that Paige is just, just the week before, hey, I dropped this pipe bombshell, which really wasn't that
pipe bombshell,
which really wasn't that great anyway. By the way, the word pipe bomb needs to disappear from WWE TV.
We will talk about pipe bombs later.
I'm sorry, but my God, the only reason they called CM Punk's promo a pipe bomb was because it blew everything up.
Yeah.
There was absolutely nothing that had that effect in Paige's speech. All she did was sit there and tell us everything we already knew. So I don't understand why that was supposed to be controversial or anything like that. Maybe it's because I'm a Smart fan and, not one of these little kids sitting in the front row.
Like, I don't understand how bringing up the fact that Nikki is with Cena and Bree's with Daniel Bryan is anything that's supposed to shock anyone. Like, if you watch one episode of Total Divas, you know everything about their lives. Like, it's not like it's this hidden thing that, secretly they're dating, so that's why Nikki was the champion for so long. And, like, there was no substance. Like, at least when Punk did his pipe bomb, like, there was, like, legitimate, like, he was saying true, like, behind-the-scenes kind of feelings where it's like, he's talking about how Triple H is going to run the company and how stupid it's going to be and things like that. And
which is actually the opposite.
Right. But, I mean, like, he's just saying, he's saying more things that people are like, wow, I can't believe he said that, because there's nothing that you're going to watch on WWE that's going to talk about anything like that. Whereas Paige's Paige bomb, as they're calling it, she's just saying things that are common knowledge. Like, it's not anything.
2 words: Vince McMahon. That's what it is. That's what it is, though, because Vince has primary control over everything. So, and he doesn't let them do as much on, the main roster stuff. Like, Triple H has pretty much full reign on NXT.
Which is why it's so good.
Which is why it's awesome, exactly. But Vince still has that same old mentality. If I go back and look at a Raw from 25 years ago, I'm going to see something very similar. Tag team, one turns heel, it's awful. Then they're thrown into tag matches together anyways, and then they eventually have a fight. This is what has been repeated throughout the history of WWE. It's what's going to continue to happen until something just changes. So regardless of what that is, something needs to change because it's terrible. And every week they come out and they're in a tag team, and then suddenly, when Charlotte won at the pay-per-view, Paige coming out with Becky made no sense. She's supposed to hate her. Yeah. Like, she hates her because she won, but she comes out to celebrate it. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it at all. And then they're hiding Sasha. It's terrible.
The whole pinky promise thing that they do too is extremely juvenile
and very girly.
Like, you guys are grown women. I'm getting sick of this recycled storyline in WWE with the divas that they're all just catty women who hate each other. Like, have a storyline revolving around the title for a change, not just who's a bigger B word.
Yeah, like there's no there's no dynamic that excites anybody. It's just, you don't even know what's going on. You don't know who the babyface are. You don't know who the heels are. And it's like, okay, let's say Paige comes out to celebrate with Charlotte. Okay, why can't they throw in a little thing of Becky? Just, she's happy, she's out there with Paige and Charlotte, but at the same time, maybe Charlotte and Becky are looking at her kind of in a skeptical way or something, like they don't trust her, but they're all smiling like everything is great in the world and Team PCB forever, and then the next week the next night they get beat up. So it's like, what did you think was going to happen?
And you touched on something there when you talked about you don't know who the faces or the heels are or anything. That's one of my biggest complaints about this whole Divas thing. The other one is lack of story. Really, all it is just girls getting in a ring and wrestling for 10 minutes. It's like, nobody wants to see that. Like, back in the... Well, okay. At risk of sounding incredibly sexist there. What I mean by that is, back in the Attitude Era, you had Trish, you had Lita, you had, Molly Holly. You had a bunch of very talented girls in there. But the difference was every one of them had a storyline. Mm-hmm. Think of a Divas... Trish and Lita closed out Raw.
Right.
Think about that.
Yeah.
Yep. But what was behind that? the women's championship, right? And there was a storyline. There's no storyline in this Divas Revolution.
Yeah.
All we're getting is these stupid 9-woman tag matches, and like, just, it's stupid. You bring up these 3 incredibly talented girls. Yeah, I'm holding the mic up here, but you bring up what? We'll talk about you in a minute, mic stand. But you bring up these 3 extremely talented girls in Becky, Charlotte, and Sasha
Banks.
That's her.
We see she's never on the show,
Yeah,
so we can never remember
exactly, so
what
I
she
never
looks like or who
forgetting
she
about her.
is.
But they bring up those 3 extremely talented girls, and they literally have nothing to do with them. Nothing for them to do.
Mm-hmm.
Let me spit out my words there. But there's nothing relevant going on in that entire division aside from they're getting more time. Great.
But the thing is that they're not all getting more time, because it's tending to be the same 3, so 1 out of each group that's wrestling.
they're
So it's always Naomi. It's almost always Brie Bella. Nikki is, has been doing the Charlotte thing.
Why is Naomi even getting time?
I don't know why anyone is getting time except for
my
Sasha
Naomi.
Banks.
God.
Bring her
I swear, I
back.
think Naomi is like even worse than Brie, because at least Brie, when she wrestles, even though she's awful, like, I don't worry about the lives of the other competitors in the ring. But when Naomi's wrestling, like, I feel like every move could end in tragedy because she's so horrible.
The greatest moment of my life so far is one of Naomi's matches after WrestleMania last year, where I think it was Summer Rae she was wrestling. She was lying on her back, and Naomi did her little split pin on her. She was on her front. Summer Rae was lying on her front, and Naomi did a split pin on her, and while Summer Rae's lying on her stomach, Naomi stays on top of her and tells the referee to start the pin.
Yeah, trying to count while
It's like,
I'm
she's not
embarrassed.
even on her back.
I'm embarrassed.
I'm pulling the mic away from myself as I go on here. It's bad.
It's just bad.
It's a bad
the one
habit.
thing, as far as everything bad we've talked about for this Divas Revolution, the thing that I hate the most is that term Divas Revolution, trademark, hashtag.
I hate the
copyright,
fact
all
that they're making Stephanie McMahon seem like the mastermind behind it.
Meanwhile, who started this whole thing? Let's just do a small little throwback to a Twitter rant by a very particular petite brunette.
One AJ
Lee.
Brooks.
Well, yes, that's right, AJ Brooks.
That's
I'm
what she
so
goes. That's what she
jealous.
goes by now.
That's amazing.
AJ Brooks.
I would absolutely just showcase my husband's last name like that. Anyway, so
I mean, what?
that's what started it. And, Stephanie responds to her, blah, blah, blah. A year later, we're looking at the worst tag matches of all time. So good job, everyone, on that one. But at least they are doing the Undertaker photo shoot to celebrate his 25 years.
Great.
Yes.
Bunch of divas in witch costume.
Exactly. So there's that, at least. At least we still get that.
Oh yeah, and Natalia's in this somehow. But anyways,
Natalia's in the Undertaker thing,
No,
or in the Divas
the-
Revolution?
She is actually in the Undertaker
is she
photo
really?
shoot.
I haven't seen
It
it.
doesn't look that great, I'll tell you that. But
But she can actually wrestle. So let me see Sasha Banks versus Natalia, and
Then-
at least I'll be satisfied wrestling wise.
Then you know what? Then I want to see Natalia and Paige and Becky, Charlotte, Sasha, and every once in a while Nikki. Like I'll see them wrestle.
of
singles
course you want to
matches.
see Nikki.
But anyways, but it's like wrestle on the main shows, Raw, SmackDown. That's fine, those girls. But the other ones, like, they're not even good enough for NXT. Like, obviously NXT's way better. But let's pretend NXT is the developmental, right? Like those other girls, like Brie and Naomi and Tamina and whoever. Like, they're terrible. So it's like, why are they even on the main roster? Like, they wouldn't even be if they did a tryout, they wouldn't be signed. So why are they on the main shows?
What does Tamina Snuka even do?
She doesn't do anything.
She stands there and tries to look
She's a
intimidating
security
behind
guard.
Sasha.
She just changes her
Naomi.
T-shirt
But it's
depending on who she's with.
It's
Literally.
pretty bad. It's pretty bad that Lana is more over than all of these girls, and Lana is not part of the Divas Revolution.
Lana's not even on TV right now.
Lana is still more over than all of them.
Like, Summer has been getting a better push.
You mean Hot Summer?
Hot Summer.
no, not hot
like
summer.
her storyline, even though it literally was nothing, it got her like over in some sense to a better point where she's been more like protected and better booked than the actual competitors for the title. So it's like they throw Summer in there and get rid of some of those stupid girls that aren't really, contributing to anything. They're just kind of dragging it down. Like, I don't know. They just need to, like, sit down and just rethink this whole.
Just give your heads a shake, WWE. Give your heads a shake.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Precisely.
Yeah.
That's all that needs to be said.
All right. So let's move on to the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view.
Can
Sorry,
I just
go ahead.
say,
Yes.
Hell in a Cell was the best pay-per-view in a while. Like, I would say maybe the last 3 or 4 months.
I agree. And can I just pat my shoulder here a little bit, myself on the back, that I guessed correctly, might I add, every winner for the entire pay-per-view, and I was the only one that did that in a little friendly bet. So I'm awesome. That's all I have to say.
My response to that is it was a fairly predictable card.
I don't care. I still got it all right.
Just
I got it
saying.
all right. 8 out of 8.
So a couple of matches that stood out to me, obviously, was the John Cena Open Challenge. So what did you think about Del Rio being the surprise?
I was very surprised.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that.
Yeah, for sure.
I was not expecting Del Rio to show up. I was expecting maybe like a Daniel Bryan or maybe even Finn Balor just to bring up an NXT guy. I know he's the NXT champion, but it would have been a cool little match if you wanted to keep the belt on Cena and just send him to his time off.
Well, for Zeb to introduce Del Rio, of all people, like Zeb Coulter, Mr. America, get rid of immigrants.
But now he's making Mex America.
I know.
I'm seeing this as a Zeb Coulter face turn, which is kind of cool.
It's kind of awesome.
But it could also be a Del Rio heel turn when he comes back. Because they haven't really expressed which direction they're going with this whole thing, right? Like, Del Rio's still a little apprehensive about Zeb. Like, did you notice on Raw, he wouldn't shake his hand. He only gave him a fist bump, and it was very reluctant. So they're playing up Del Rio doesn't know if he trusts Zeb or not, which is cool. But at the same time, this could be a new leaf for Zeb. I don't know. I've always liked Zeb Coulter. I like Dutch Mantel.
Right.
But Zeb Coulter, obviously Dutch Mantel plays Zeb Coulter. Mm-hmm. But, I think it would be cool for him to go from, like, this immigrant-hating guy. Am I too far from my mouth here?
See, my problem with the Zeb Del Rio thing is that I feel like they had Zeb come out just to swerve the crowd.
Yeah, because weren't you expecting Jack Swagger? Because I was they ruined it.
Really, though. Who wants Jack Swagger?
But didn't you think that he was going to come out? Because I was like, they ruined it. I was like, forget it.
I did a little. I was very, very worried when Zeb came out. I love his new scooter, though, by the way.
Yeah, it's
That's
unreal.
Awesome.
I want one of those.
And I think his mustache grew an extra 3 inches in the time he's been away.
Could be.
But
see, my thing is, like, so they have Zeb come out just for a swerve. So that you're expecting Swagger, which I did not expect Swagger. Even after Zeb came out, I said there's no way Swagger's coming out.
But did you want Swagger? Really?
No. But I'm saying, I knew that it was going to be a surprise. Like, I didn't know who he was going to introduce. Kind of like that Bret Hart thing we did with Sami Zayn. But the thing is, I feel like it was effective for that moment, but they haven't explained why they're together or how it came to be. Just like, oh, we need to be together, but it's like what's the dynamic? Like, why are they together? And they haven't explained that, and so I think that's kind of dry a little bit. Like, it was only good for Del Rio's return, because let's say, for example, if they had Ricardo walk out, Ricardo would have taken the big pop. He would have gotten the surprise pop. So when he would have introduced Del Rio, the reaction wouldn't be as crazy because you already know he's coming. There's no one else that would be. And Ricardo returning on his own would get a reaction. But with Zeb, like, you don't really react as much. So when he announces Del Rio, then you really get surprised.
So you're saying they brought him back just to kind of get Del Rio his big pop, and then Del Rio's going to kind of abandon him?
Yeah, like, I feel like he should just get rid of him.
It makes sense, and that's actually something I would rather see, because I would rather... You touched on Ricardo. I would rather see Del Rio with Ricardo again.
Right. Mm-hmm. I feel like he should ditch Zeb and get Ricardo back, but now not at the expense of the shock pop.
Yeah, exactly.
That he got at the pay-per-view.
Okay, I agree with that.
Okay, so what about the Roman Reigns, Bray Wyatt, Hell in a Cell?
You know what? Pretty damn good. I really actually enjoyed it. I'm a huge Bray Wyatt fan. I'm a big Bray mark. And, Roman actually impressed me. Like, I'll get what?
I'm going to call you Bray Mark from now on since your name is Brad. So it totally works. So you're now Bray Mark, just so you know.
Okay. I'll be Bray Mark.
Yay.
It's my code name
That's
on
his
the show.
gimmick now.
Yeah, it's my gimmick. But I am the eater of worlds. But yeah, I was very impressed with both guys. That table spot that Roman took, where Bray chokeslammed him off the apron,
Amazing.
that looked brutal.
Yeah.
Like, that looked really bad. Like,
Yeah.
Bray threw him down real hard. And, it looked really good. The whole match was really well done, I thought. There were some cool spots with Bray sticking the chair in the cell.
Oh, my God. That was so terrifying.
And then getting thrown into it after. That was really cool.
Yeah, that was awesome.
But, yeah, it was a solid Hell in a Cell match. I think it was great. Obviously, it was a little overshadowed by the cell match at the end of the show. But all in all, really good match. And I was very impressed by both guys.
You know what the thing is with this pay-per-view is, like, it comes around every year, and they always have to figure out how they're going to, who they're going to put in the cell matches and everything. But I feel like the two cell matches with Roman Reigns and Bray Wyatt, and then Undertaker and Brock, they felt like warranted. Like they had long enough feuds that it was like, if you want to put it to rest, put it in the cell match. Whereas, like, year after year we've been getting, here's Sheamus against Randy Orton, just for no reason, because Sheamus is the number one contender. And it's just like, here's a Hell in a Cell match. Whereas, like, you see in the past when the feud was getting really crazy, it's like, you know what? Well, like, this Undertaker Batista feud is like really heating up. Like, put him in the cell. This whoever Shawn Michaels against whoever. Like, the cell match was like the final.
It's
It
the
was
blow
like
off for a
the curtain.
feud.
It's like the
For the
curtain.
feud,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's like the curtain call. Like,
Ooh, that's a controversial term.
whatever. I don't care.
You know what I mean?
It is, but it is though. I mean, that's.
Yeah, and that's why Hell in a Cell was designed.
Right.
And Alex touched on it perfectly. Those two matches were perfect for Hell in a Cell because they had long-standing feuds, and it made sense. Instead of by the way, let's take a big positive out of Hell in a Cell. Sheamus is not WWE champion.
Thank God.
I am so ecstatically happy about that.
Just side note, the only way I will ever be happy with Sheamus being the champion is if he shaves that ridiculous beard. Okay, continue.
What?
I hate that beard.
I actually like Sheamus's new look.
It's disgusting.
No, man,
He's got little weird things hanging from his beard.
He actually looks like a Celtic warrior now.
Okay, I'm good with the mohawk.
He looks like menacing.
Yeah, he does.
But the beard is gross.
No, that's the point. He's supposed to look like a guy who's just going to beat the holy hell out of you.
Like, I would say that
and he totally does.
Like, they chant "You look stupid" for him now. I feel like he looked stupid before, and he looks just like serious, and like he just wants to freaking.
Sheamus's worst look ever was when he was completely bald and just had the beard.
Oh, well, that's gross.
That was when he looked stupid. He looked like a hairy thumb.
I like his hair. I just don't like his beard. It's gross. So when you win, Sheamus, because you will, we know, please shave your beard. Please.
Christina's the only one that doesn't like it, bro. So if you want to keep it,
Really?
I'm cool with it.
And then so the rest of the card was here and there. The WWE title match was nothing.
Going into it, you knew Kane wasn't going to win anyway. So
Yeah, there's no way he's going to lose to Kane of all people.
God, unless they really wanted to give Kane one last run before he
But not
rides into
against
the
Seth,
sunset,
because
but
they're
not
building
against
the
Seth.
whole Seth versus Triple H thing. Like, they're building that, so they can't screw him over with corporate Kane.
They didn't even have
winning.
Kane on the go home show for the pay-per-view. They had him suspended. So it's like,
Because he was off being Demon Kane. By the way, that whole storyline where he was switching back and forth between Demon Kane and Corporate Kane was the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
It was so funny.
No, man.
Yes,
I don't know
it
why
was
Christina
hilarious.
thinks
I
it's
liked
funny.
it.
It was
I don't
not.
care. I liked
it was
it.
so dumb.
that's not even like
I've never been more insulted as a wrestler.
That's
No,
not even-
honestly, I felt like WWE was insulting my intelligence. And I don't say that often because, it's wrestling. It's supposed to be stupid. But this was ridiculous.
So it was offensive.
A little bit. And
Yeah.
it's not like Katie Vick offensive.
No.
But he's sitting that's offensive on a whole new level. Although funnily enough, involving Kane. But, it was dumb. It was really dumb. Like, And the fact that he's sitting there pretending like he doesn't know what's going on, it's like, man, come on. You're changing your costume.
It's
literally, that's it.
It's not even good enough for like a lower like nothing card match, let alone the WWE World Heavyweight title.
Exactly.
Like,
This is how you're building your title match to your pay-per-view. Having
Like-
Kane have an identity crisis.
right.
Seriously?
The representation of the entire company relies on goofiness. Like,
Yeah, it's stupid.
But I did like the whole psychiatrist or whatever, the human resources girl that said that Seth was the one that was unstable, because that was funny and it was true.
Like,
but
there might be,
but
like,
if you're
a
gonna
funny
bring back
moment here and
if you're
there.
gonna bring out a psychiatrist, why not bring back Dr. Shelby, who has dealt with Kane in the past
Oh,
and is
Dr.
responsible for
Shelby.
some of the funniest skits in
Dr.
WWE
Shelby.
history.
That's true. That's true.
Why
They
not
went
do
wrong
that
with
if you're going for a comedy angle? Bring this guy back instead of just having, what was her name from HR? Whatever.
I
Who
don't
cares?
I
remember.
don't even
Some
know.
random name.
Some random comeback who has
Caitlyn or
who has
something, I
no
don't know.
idea what she's doing. Her mic work was terrible.
Plus, she's actually British, because at one point she said one of her words and it came out in her real accent. So she's pretending to be American.
Yeah,
I don't
her-
know why WWE.
her accent slipped through.
I don't know why. Why
like,
do you
like
do
Lana's
this?
has
Because WWE is all about America.
America.
All right, and then we got obviously the Undertaker Brock match, which I thought was incredible.
Well, hold on. Let's talk about Ryback and Kevin Owens.
oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Because that match deserved more time.
Yep.
Well, they got.
it
I'm looking at
deserved-
it now. They got 5 minutes and 35 seconds.
That's embarrassing.
Well, what are you going to do, though? It's a Ryback match.
Well, not for Ryback. I mean for Kevin Owens.
And it's coming on after the championship match. And it's coming on before Taker Lesnar.
Okay,
like, they
but-
were screwed with their positioning.
how did
But the championship match was a wash, because you knew what to expect going in. You knew Seth was going to win. Kevin Owens has proven time and time again, whether it's on Raw, whether it's on a house show, whether it's walking down the street, that he is
SmackDown.
amazing. Absolutely amazing, and deserves the time. And he can carry whoever he's wrestling with in order to get that match to the level that it needs to be.
My favorite match of the year still is Owens versus Cena at Elimination Chamber.
Amazing. He's amazing.
And the fact that he's getting 5.5 minutes on a B show when he pretty much carried Cena to one of the best matches of the year
Yep.
in February, that shouldn't be happening at all.
Just his actual appearance when he first started on NXT. For anyone that doesn't know, you need to go back and watch. I don't remember which pay-per-view it was, which NXT show it was.
It was Takeover.
Was it Takeover?
Which one? Are
I
you
think it
talking
was a
about?
rival.
The one where
he shows up and beats up Zayn after he wins the title.
Yeah, when Sammy had won the match and then
Oh.
he came out and attacked him.
I can't remember. The name of that
Incredible. We'll find out for the next.
I think it was a rival.
I think it might have been a
it could
rival. We'll find out. I'll post the whichever show it was when I post the link to the podcast. Like, you want to see the level of just the caliber of his work in terms of heel work, in terms of wrestling, in terms of everything. Go back and just watch that whole sequence of events of what happened after Zayn won his match. Incredible. And don't get me wrong, I am probably the biggest Sami Zayn mark on the planet. And I love that whole sequence. So that's all. Like, he's amazing. Push him. Push Kevin Owens.
But he just needs a real feud. Like for a Ryback match, I honestly don't even care. So 5 minutes, like, yeah, it's short for Kevin Owens, but I don't care about this feud in any way. So I just, to be honest, the quicker it's done, the better. But once he actually gets into a serious like feud that actually matters, then I want him to have more time.
Who would you pin against him in a feud that matters?
I was just going to bring one up.
Who do you think?
Bray Wyatt.
Oh wow.
I was wondering about
them,
that.
Have them feud till TLC. Put the IC strap on the line. And give Wyatt the IC title.
I was actually going to bring that up in terms of Survivor Series predictions a little bit later, that I think Kevin Owens is going to be involved in one of the two teams, whether it's he ends up on the Wyatt family team because they're the heels and then something goes on during the match, or whether he ends up on the other team, which would be kind of weird for me.
Keep him away
Something's
from
got to
that.
happen.
Keep him away from that entire story, is my thinking on that.
I just want to see him wrestle. I
That's
don't
what I'm
care
saying.
what he does.
Put him in a feud with, have him go over have him fight I don't know.
Have him fight Cesaro. Have him
Yeah.
fight
I like
whoever.
him against Cesaro.
Have him
They've
fight
had good
Cesaro, or
matches.
even have him fight Ziggler at
Yeah.
Survivor Series or something.
Ooh, Ziggler would be good.
And then have Bray cost him or have Bray like
Or he can win and
do
have
something.
just Bray come out and attack
have
him.
Bray come out and attack him, because I would pay good money, like really good money, to see Kevin Owens and Bray Wyatt go at it.
Yep.
Yeah, that would be a good
That
feud.
would be amazing. They're
Yeah.
two bigger guys.
And
They
they're
can both
great on the
move.
mic, too.
Okay,
they're
so
both
so
amazing
here's
on
the
the
deal.
mic.
You guys, okay. If that happens and it's Bray Wyatt versus Kevin Owens, whatever pay-per-view it's happening, we're going.
WrestleMania.
Well, I'm sure. We're already looking at that. Remember,
So much money though.
travel packages didn't work out for us.
It's so
But-
much money.
We're going on a road trip to a pay-per-view for sure, because that has to happen, and that's the one that I want to go see.
I'll go see Owens and Ryback. Hell yeah.
All right.
Owens and Ryback.
Not Owens and Ryback. Owens and Wyatt. I already saw Owens and Ryback.
Yeah, and it was only
and
5
it was
minutes
5
long.
minutes.
We've seen enough of that. Well,
Yeah, we've seen enough of that.
It was 5:35 too.
All right, so let's get to the final cell here.
Okay, so Brock and Taker. Now this match
Was awesome.
was awesome.
Awesome.
really
And-
good.
And the fact that they got busted open, like
Both.
whether it was hard way or by
Yeah.
blading.
That's up for debate.
Either way, like it adds so
Oh,
much.
I think
every
bleeding.
once in a while when they have blood in a match, because before it would just be like ridiculous, like Shawn Michaels, he goes to get through the ropes, he slips, and now all of a sudden he's busted open like
Yeah.
crazy, like you don't even know if he's gonna make it out alive.
I don't know how Flair ever made it out alive, because he lost liters of blood in every match.
Flair is like the real all red everything,
So
like
did-
the Eva Marie,
so
All
did
red
Eddie.
everything.
because like his hair would just completely go red.
Hey.
But I mean, like,
Eddie lost a lot of blood.
oh, that was
Oh my god,
That was in poor taste.
oh, but
that was a very
no,
poor
honestly, like,
taste.
yeah, even
really,
in that,
though, he did.
even in the Eddie and JBL match you're talking about from, I think it was like Judgment Day or something.
Judgment Day 04.
Yeah, I think that sounds about right. Like just ridiculous amounts of blood, like just way too much.
Well, it affected his performances for the next 2 weeks. He lost so much blood.
Yeah,
And you could believe that match indirectly led to his death. Like the
Well, he-
results of that.
It's hard to recover.
It's hard to
something
recover
like
from that much blood loss.
Yeah.
Like,
Um,
and especially when you're in a physical work environment like Eddie was.
yeah.
It takes a toll on
But
you.
I mean, like like obviously, and that was effective in that match. But there's some times where people would blade or whatever for no reason, like just like a raw match. Like why are you busted open, bleeding all over the place? Like
Yeah.
it's just too much. But in a match like this, where it's like, okay, you have this guy and you got this guy, and they both hate each other and they just want to beat each other up. They just want to kill each other. So when they get busted open, like it adds so much drama to the match, even though they weren't even bleeding like a crazy amount. But it was just enough where, these guys really hate each other and they're out to get each other. So
Brock looked like he had a pretty nasty
he
gash.
he was bleeding
Like,
more than Taker was.
I think he was hard way, and I think Taker bladed.
Oh, Taker bladed when he went into the corner. So they were on the outside of the ring, and he went down to the corner and then almost like went under the mat for like a second. Like it was really weird. He was like under the ring and then like popped back out, and suddenly he's bleeding. I wonder what happened
Yeah, I wonder what
there.
happened.
I'm kind of confused.
Well, I mean, even Brock, he got busted open the exact same way he did at WrestleMania. So he knows some trick if it's not hard way. Like when he goes into the post, I don't know how
Well,
he does it so fast.
I think
it's
he's
like instantaneous.
I think he's doing intentional hard way, to be honest.
I know, but how do
that
you
was-
just like hit yourself off something and just bleed?
He's also Brock Lesnar.
I know, but like
The guy is made of meat.
like can you bash your head off this table here and you'll just start bleeding from?
I don't know. You want to
Well,
try?
you should try it, and
You
we'll
wanna try?
tell everybody whether it worked or not.
All right, here we go. No, I'm just joking.
I hope the mic picks this up.
Okay.
Just a dull thunk.
Yeah.
So-
Oh, Darren's joining us finally. It only took 3 episodes.
Whoa.
No, I just want to give my thoughts on this whole Undertaker match, because that's the only match I do watch. I don't watch as wrestling as much as you guys. No offense.
None taken.
I thought it was a little bit of old school how they just completely tore the ring apart.
That was awesome.
That
You
was
know,
that was
super
my
awesome.
favorite
That was
spot
my
of the
favorite.
whole
There's
match.
some of that. I've never seen that in a long time.
When Lesnar
right?
ripped the ring open
Yeah.
and gave him the F5 on top of
Yeah.
it, I was like, oh my God.
Incredible.
I thought that someone was going to
Like,
go through the ring. That would
The thing that got me, though,
Yeah.
after Brock rips it open,
Yeah.
he takes the padding out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That's solid
just the
wood
bare
that
wood,
those
yeah.
guys are
Yeah.
slamming each other on.
Yeah.
Like that
Oh, you could see the instant bruising. Like, they were instantly bruised when they were landing on those.
It's Undertaker. Every match he's in, he's instantly bruised on his back.
But still.
But
he's bruised by when he takes his hat off.
Yeah,
okay, that line is my favorite.
That's awesome.
Thing
The funny thing about
him.
that you mentioned the line on his forehead is that, like, when I've looked back at other, like, older clips, like, you can faintly see that line in literally every single clip of him taking his hat off.
It gets darker with his age.
It just never stood out as much as
his
it did
head grew.
the last
So
like 2 weeks.
hat's a little tighter.
But
He's had the same hat since 1994.
since 1994. But seriously though, slamming a guy on a solid piece of wood like that, there's no way you fake that. Like, that's gotta hurt.
Right.
yeah.
Like, anyone who says pro wrestling is real can bite me
not
after
real.
that. Like,
Is fake.
It's
you
fake.
mean?
or
you
is
mean?
fake. Yeah. I thought I said isn't real, but
No, you said anyone
but
It's
thinks it's
scripted.
real.
it yeah, exactly. It's scripted, but it definitely ain't fake. Like, that had to hurt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
But what a perfect way to end that feud, though, by,
was
by
awesome.
getting it so, down literally to the core in terms of what they were willing to do to each other. Incredible. Amazing. Thank God it wasn't another WrestleMania 30 match.
And
you know what though? If they
Yeah.
did that sell at Mania 32, I would have been okay with it.
yeah,
Yeah,
would've went
I
over
would've been
well.
okay with
I'm
that.
dead serious.
Yeah,
I would have been
okay with that.
100% fine with that if they had Lesnar Taker at Mania 32 and Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, for sure. And
But-
and to me, coming out of this show, the best thing that I took note of is that on Raw, it's apparent, like, these feuds are over, which it's good because, like, that's what the Hell in a Cell should be, and that's what they did. So I mean, they had two great matches. It wasn't just like, oh, a whatever match with some interference ending and some cheap thing. It was like, no, like, they had definitive conclusions to both feuds.
Yes, they did.
And-
Also,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
$1 million question here, guys. Why do you think they rushed Taker Lesnar into Hell in a Cell and didn't keep it for Mania?
Sting?
You think so?
I hope so.
I don't know. I don't think it's going to be Sting. They're plotting something, but I think that they're
I
going
think
in a
they're
different
I think
direction
they're
for
plotting-
Lesnar.
I think I think they're plotting something more on Brock's side.
Yeah.
And I don't want to sound like a mark,
You are, Mark.
but
Right, Mark.
I honestly, in my heart of hearts, feel like Stone Cold Steve Austin will be at WrestleMania 32, and he's going to fight Brock Lesnar.
I mean, they're in Texas. They want to sell out that arena.
Exactly.
That stadium, 100,000 people.
Austin said he would only come back if the creative and the money was right.
Or even The Rock and Brock, they were supposed to do that 2 years ago.
Yeah, but
I
The
really
Rock hasn't even
want
come
Stone
back yet.
Cold though. Like
I would
think
rather
that-
have
because we've seen
Lesnar
The Rock
Austin.
come back a couple times already, but Austin left and has not come back. He has not wrestled
his last
a single
match was 13 years ago.
But
oh my god!
I think, like,
ew, that's disgusting.
WrestleMania 19 was 13 years ago.
Like, I feel like
That's disgusting.
I feel like
No.
Austin wouldn't do it because he just doesn't seem like when they had him come out on Raw, he just did not look like he wanted to be there in any shape or form.
he was literally there to introduce The Undertaker and leave.
That's fine, but I mean, like, they, like, in the small little times that he's like, when he does a podcast, he never appears live, no matter, like, every time.
Well,
and he's done like 5 shows.
He appeared live because it was in Dallas, and he's got history in there. So he was like, all right, you know what, whatever, I'll do it. But again, it goes back to creative. Austin said he doesn't make appearances unless the creative's good. And if you're going to waste a Stone Cold appearance just having him introduce The Undertaker, because Austin is arguably one of the only guys bigger than The Undertaker.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, if you're going to waste him just introducing somebody who is, again, arguably lesser than him, like, why would you do that? You know what I mean? You could have had anybody come out and introduce The Undertaker. You didn't even have to have anyone introduce The Undertaker in the first place. Just have Austin be there for his podcast, or maybe make a appearance later in the night and stun somebody or something, or have him just show up backstage. The other appearance that was stupid was the next week when they had a previously taped segment with The Miz about the stupid video game.
That was horrible.
Which, by the way, is actually pretty good. I played 2K16 the other day.
Did you pre-order it? So do you have?
I don't have
the
it
Terminator.
yet. I don't have it yet.
Oh.
But I am going to get it this week, and I'm pretty sure if you go to Best Buy or something, they just have all the pre-order stuff with the game anyway. But
Now, I think, okay, let's say Austin comes out on that Raw to introduce the Undertaker. Like, I think it would have been more effective just to have, in the middle of his speech about the podcast or whatever in his history in Texas, just have the Undertaker's gong go off, like, and interrupt him. And then you're like, oh, what's going to happen? And maybe they can just shake hands in the ring or something and then leave. But, like, just to be like...
But Taker's interrupting him.
Well, yeah,
That's a pretty heel tactic, bud.
Yeah,
I don't
but
know
it's
if
Taker.
Austin would be shaking his hand.
It's Taker. It's not like somebody who's like, you know, like Seth Rollins interrupting him. It's
Yeah,
just
I
like,
guess.
it's like kind of like two legends. So it's like, yeah, you kind of forgive it.
I guess so.
I don't know. But
mark my words. I'm dropping the prediction right now. Austin Brock at Mania 32.
it's a pretty bold statement, but
That is a bold statement.
we'll see what happens.
It's going to happen.
Okay, so let's move on now. Now at the end of the Hell in a Cell, we saw Bray Wyatt take out the Undertaker with the rest of the Wyatt family, and then on Raw, we saw the exact same thing with Kane. So it looks like they're setting up like a Survivor Series match. I'm guessing for the Undertaker's 25 years in WWE.
Mm-hmm.
So do you guys have any predictions on who do you think will be teaming with them, if anyone?
Well, first off, I hope Bray gets his win back against Undertaker from WrestleMania, because I'm probably in the minority when I say this, but I don't think that Taker should have gone over Bray at Mania 31. I think Bray should have won.
We agree. We thought that absolutely,
Like, once the streak...
positively, Bray was going to win. We didn't think he was going to win.
Once the streak was over, there's no point in having the Undertaker win at WrestleMania.
No, he doesn't need to be
Other
right.
than to put other guys over.
Not only that, though, Bray Wyatt had a broken foot. Like, he had, like, broken his foot or broken his ankle or something
And he still went out
that
there.
day. And he went out and wrestled an incredible match. You'd had no idea he was hurt. Now, he was probably bandaged and, you know, whatever.
On a ton of Z-Packs.
On a ton of Z-Packs. But it was an amazing match, and I think that they have a good chemistry together in terms of creepiness and mind games and all that other stuff. So... I don't know. I like that they took him out at the end. I know some people don't. But I thought that it was cool that they took him out in like the whole cross thing and the kind of throwbacks to old Undertaker days.
And this time around, it looks like they're actually going to have a feud instead of Bray just promo after promo, week after week.
Yeah.
And this is my one gripe about Bray. I love him. Don't get me wrong. But... his promos are so long-winded, and nobody really gets half of what he's saying, that it's like, okay, man, just, you know, get to your point. We don't need 10 minutes of nothing.
I agree in most cases, because when he's feuding with Roman Reigns or Chris Jericho, and he's talking about souls and whatever, like to the other guys, that's nonsense what he's saying. But when he's feuding with the Undertaker, I feel like his promos can relate more, because when he's saying like, oh, I'm feasting on the Undertaker's soul, that actually makes sense in terms of like the Undertaker's character. So I feel like, if anything, Bray's promos make more sense now than they would against just like a normal person.
Oh, they totally do. But again, like you said, he's not always going to be feuding with the Undertaker.
Right.
So
he needs to adapt like
yeah,
his wording depending on who he's feuding with.
like he can get all metaphorical and nonsensical or whatever depending on who he's feuding with. But if he's feuding with Roman Reigns, I don't want to hear him going on about how he's going to eat Roman Reigns' world or his soul or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
It's just like, why can't they do what the NWO used to do back in the Nitro days? Just beat up everyone and that's roll credits. End of
Exactly.
show. That's it.
Like the Wyatt family, especially now with Braun Strowman, like, you know, I hate the fact that he might get the Taker match at Mania. That's a disgusting idea to me.
I
But
don't think that would ever happen. That would be a travesty.
if Vince has any brain left in his body, he won't do that. But, you know, that said, he adds a presence to the Wyatt family. And that actually makes them a more credible threat against Undertaker and Kane now, I think.
Right.
Now, as far as predictions for the rest of Taker and Kane's, the rest of Team Taker.
Team Bad.
Yeah, exactly. Who do we,
Sasha Banks,
yeah.
please.
Who do we think?
Baron Corbin. I think he's going to come up. I know you disagree with me, Brad. I don't care. I think that
I'm biting my tongue.
He would fit in with those guys. He is a strong, tough dude. I think he would be awesome.
He's not coming up
What's,
before Finn.
what's his
see.
name? What's his name?
Baron Corbin.
Is that the guy that was in High School Musical too?
No.
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 Oh, that's Corbin Blue.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Nice try, Darren. Nice
It's a little weird that I knew that. But
Just mark my words. He's coming up.
not before Finn.
We'll see.
Hashtag not before Finn. Get that trending.
Like I would have probably said someone like, I mean, before Raw would have happened. I mean, like, I thought maybe like Roman or Dean or something, but clearly and luckily they've stepped away from the Wyatts. On a tangent, I just want to say that I think Dean is going to turn on Roman.
Oh, Dean's turning for sure.
Like,
That's happening
I think this
soon.
pay-per-view he's turning
Yeah,
on.
that's happening
Another
soon.
bold prediction. We ready here? Dean turns on Roman at Survivor Series. Down the line, it sets up the Shield triple threat for the WWE title at WrestleMania.
That is my dream match.
It's
I don't
gonna
know
happen.
how many times
It's
I've talked
happening
about
this
that
year.
dream match. It
That-
has to happen.
My fantasy card this year, that's the main event. Shield triple threat
That
for
could
the title.
that could be
That'll
the main
sell.
event of anything. I would buy every ticket to go to
Oh,
that. I
it'd be
don't care.
unbelievable.
That's just them teasing the three of them together, and like when they had to tag a couple weeks ago on Raw.
When Seth walked up and stood with Roman and
Oh
Dean,
my
I was
God.
like, oh man.
It was the best thing I've ever seen.
This is like nostalgia from 2 years ago.
And the thing is, it was only 2 years ago. Like, you know, you like fangirl or whatever, mark out
Look how-
about stuff from like 10, 15, 20 years ago, and you don't realize it was that long ago. This was only 2 years ago, people. 2 years ago, we had the best faction team ever. And no, I'm sorry. I think that they were the best. I think that they were the best.
I don't know about ever.
Well, okay, like
In the modern era,
in the
maybe.
modern era, like you can't go back through
Well,
like
we're
DX.
not, we're,
and
but,
all
I mean,
that
we're not.
stuff,
We're not going
but-
to say
Maybe-
ever.
I think in terms of like the match quality that they had as a team, I think they're the best because
Yes.
like maybe
Yeah, I agree with that.
maybe they won't go down in history as like one of the most revolutionary or like a DX or NWO, which is just
they're
Hall
de-
of Fame level.
Yeah,
like
they're
based
definitely
on-
the best technical group.
But like
Yes.
as a team
That's what
putting
I
on
meant.
matches, they have to be the best.
That's what I meant. And the thing is that they didn't care. They just went after whoever. Like, oh, like, you know what?
oh, they beat everybody.
We're the Hounds of Justice. I feel like I'm going to go against you
They
today.
literally
And it
beat-
didn't matter. Like,
And
it
the
didn't
fact-
matter who you were. It
Dean
didn't matter
got-
what you stood for.
Dean had a one-on-one match with the Undertaker on SmackDown, and then they took him out and did
Didn't
a
they
triple
triple
powerbomb.
bomb?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they
Triple
powerbombed through
powerbomb.
the
Yeah.
table. Like that just shows you how like over they were and how much they were
The
impressing
fact-
everybody.
the fact that they
the
were-
Undertaker would even.
Yeah, the fact that they were getting rubs from guys like Taker and even The Rock.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
took out The Rock a couple times. And
Yeah.
it was like, whoa, these guys are a big deal.
Right.
And, if you look at what's happened with the Shield since they broke up, there's really only two names that stand out, and one's kind of been left in the dust.
Mm-hmm.
And funny enough, the guy that's been left in the dust is the one that everybody thought was going to break out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, he's the most over though.
oh, he
It's like
totally is.
he's the one that with the least direction, but the most like reaction when he does
Oh,
anything.
he's my favorite.
When Dean Ambrose enters an arena, it's almost like Austin level Attitude Era
Right.
props.
It's insane.
He's my post-punk favorite, as we all know. I stated that from the beginning. He was my post-punk
Post-punk favorite.
Whatever, it
Oh
occurs,
my
okay?
God.
Hashtag that. Anyways,
Disgusting.
however, seeing him at a couple of live events, and I mean, and we've gone to live events like SmackDowns, pay-per-views, whatever, and everybody's been there. We got Brock Lesnar at our SmackDown. We got, at our Raw. We got Jericho. We got everybody.
Lesnar at
Who
a
did
Raw
I
was
mar-
awesome.
Who did I mark out for? Dean Ambrose, because he is amazing. They don't have a storyline for him yet because he will heel turn.
Oh, when he turns
However,
on Roman, it's going to be awesome.
It's going to be amazing because when you're really that over, whether you're heel or whether you're babyface, it doesn't even matter.
Now that since you brought up Jericho, the reason why I feel Undertaker should have beaten Bray, and he did at WrestleMania, is because I don't want Undertaker to become another Chris Jericho. Like Chris Jericho, obviously, Hall of Fame legend, whatever.
Comes back, jobs out to the new
every
guy,
time he
leaves.
comes back, he loses. Like he's losing his credibility.
He lost to Fandango at
Yeah.
Mania 29.
but he got paid just as much as the main eventers. That's the only reason why he did it, as per his words. But I mean, like Jericho, if they want to have Jericho look effective, and say Jericho is teaming with Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose,
Have him win.
He needs to win.
Have him win. Have him beat someone. Have him have a match against whoever, somebody big, and have him beat them. So then that way, when Jericho does do his surprise returns, you're thinking like, oh, wow, like it's Jericho. Like he actually has a chance of winning his feud against whoever.
Remember when he put Punk over 3 straight times?
Oh,
why?
I still
sure
say
do.
he should have won at Mania against Punk.
Yeah.
And have Punk chase the title in Chicago for the next week.
I don't agree with that
I
at
do.
all, because that would have killed the 434
Well,
title reign.
It wasn't 434 at the time. He only had it for like 4 months at that time.
Well, the long-term plan was he was going to lose it to Rock regardless, right?
Either way, but I mean, like
So-
in terms of like excitement and actually put over Jericho a little bit, have him have some backing, so that it's like, oh, like now Punk's chasing the title, which is always the more exciting
Yeah.
way of booking, and have him win the title back in Chicago.
And the
So-
thing I kind of noticed too around that time was that as hot as Punk was through most
Agreed.
Wait, yeah, you want to
through
maybe a little bit of rewording on that.
you know what I mean, like hot, like
Sizzling.
he was
scorching.
white hot
Yeah.
Right.
in most of 2011 because of his pipe bomb.
Yeah, like the summer of Punk.
And then the Triple H feud happened,
Well, I mean,
No.
killed all of his momentum,
God.
and then he went into WrestleMania like a tier down. You know what I mean? He wasn't the main event, but he was the champion.
But that's what started his whole hate-filled feud.
Of
wanting
course,
to get
of
rid
course.
stuff.
But at the same time, I'm saying there might be something to what Alex is saying, though, because it might have given Punk a little bit more momentum to go into his heel turn for the summer. You know what I'm saying? But, well, what's done is done. We can't really change
can
it
I just
now.
say, since we're already talking about Punk, can you just do your
My CM
Your
Punk
little
appreciation
appreciation thing.
segment.
What are we on right
Just-
now, though?
We're right here.
We didn't
Yeah.
make our Survivor Series predictions.
Okay.
I did. Baron Corbin.
That's one guy who's you got to.
I don't care. I don't care who else is going to be in there as long as he's there.
What is your obsession with Baron Corbin?
I don't know.
Why do you throw
like
James
him
Storm in
lately.
there too?
No, I don't know. Like, I mean, typically Survivor Series, it's like 5-on-5. The Wyatts have 4. I don't know if they're going to stick
I think
with
it's going to be
4.
4-on-4.
I think I don't like the 4-on-4 thing. I think I like the 5. I like the dynamic of having an odd number.
What's the difference?
However,
But I feel like
I don't know.
the Wyatts being as the 4 that they are is more effective because you know that they're 4 strong together. Whereas
That's
if
true.
as soon as they bring in someone from an outside source, then I feel like now they're weaker.
yeah, I mean, they're a cohesive unit on their own. So you're right. It wouldn't really make sense. Like, no one else really fits with them. But, I mean, who is going to tag with Undertaker and Kane?
Like, I don't know why I just feel like, and I honestly think it's too soon since SummerSlam. I think, was it SummerSlam? Or no, the pay-per-view after whatever it was.
Night
I
of
can't remember.
Champions.
Night of Champions. I don't know why I get the impression Sting. Like, I know it sounds fanboyish and markish.
Well,
but,
maybe
like,
they're going to do, like, all of those,
I
like,
feel
legendary
who would
people.
team with Undertaker and Kane,
Yeah.
but somebody, like, on that kind of supernatural
I have a
level?
name.
Okay.
Daniel Bryan.
I don't know. We've been wanting Daniel Bryan to return for, like,
I
pay-per-view.
want to see a Team Hell No spot in that match,
Okay, yeah, that would be
and it
pretty
would be
awesome.
freaking awesome.
That would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, that would be good. But
If
Daniel
it-
Bryan is almost like one of those, like I feel
He's
like
up
might as
there.
well say Stone Cold because I feel like that's how unlikely it is.
If
that-
WWE even clears him to come back, I think
And
they're keeping
he's
him.
cleared from his own doctor.
Yeah.
WWE isn't clearing
I
him.
think they're not clearing him because they don't want him to kill all their. They don't want his fans hijacking their shows.
And that's the thing, is that the yes chants have finally subsided a little bit.
No, they haven't. There's
No,
at least
they
3
have.
on every Raw.
Yeah, but not to the extent of what they were. Not
Well, yeah.
like
It's not every segment.
It was every segment. If Stephanie and Triple H came out at all, you couldn't hear them because there were constant yes chants. So I mean, now it's like to the point where they can usually get through a promo without hearing
it's
one.
like the CM Punk chants that you know just don't hear him even in Chicago.
Christina chants him in her
They-
living room every
they-
yeah, I
week.
do.
He just as soon as he comes back, they're coming back. That's all it is. Like you're not gonna, you know, like he needs to like inspire them, I guess, to start it up again.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
So you think Sting,
like I have a
I think
feeling-
Daniel Bryan.
and
will
you think
come.
Daniel Bryan. I think
Yeah.
that Baron Corbin.
I honestly can't think of a second person though.
I can't.
I
either.
have no idea.
It's gonna be
If it's
gonna be-
Randy
Jesus
Orton or
Christ.
some crap, I'm
He's
turning it
injured.
No,
off.
he's injured.
Doesn't matter. He'll come back.
Where's
just because it's
Randy?
Randy Orton.
I love
Maybe.
Randy Orton.
No, you don't. Nobody loves Randy Orton.
maybe it'll be
anymore.
Jericho and
Oh,
So
I do.
It's not 2003, Christina.
No, I do. I'm sorry, I do.
maybe
I
Jericho will
cried.
come back and he'll job out again.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, great. Another Jericho job.
All right.
So should I do my
Ooh,
CM Punk appreciation
yeah, let's
segment
go ahead
now?
and do that.
Okay.
God.
So as you know, my favorite part of our show is my CM Punk appreciation segment. You're welcome in advance. Let me just open it up here. because I have a very specific.
You have something written down for this?
No, shut up.
Alex's eyes are closed. He looks absolutely
It's
annoyed
not written
right
down. I just want to get the show because I don't remember now.
now. Oh my God.
Shut up.
This is taking forever. Longest segment of the show coming
I
up here,
need my
folks.
song to play anyway. So we're going to throw back here to CM Punk vs. Rey Mysterio, WWE Over the Limit 2010. For anyone that doesn't remember, this was a shave the head versus join the Straight Edge Society thing. Yeah. So as we know, this started the whole. It really kind of put him on the forefront in terms of the Straight Edge Society. He did lose the match and did get his head shaved. However, for them to do a head shaving match, which is like so basic compared to what they do now, and for it to have been pulled off so effectively by some, especially with Rey Mysterio, who doesn't do a lot of storyline stuff. He's more wrestling. It was awesome, and that is my throwback.
The thing that stands out or stuck out to me in that match was when Punk was busted open, and then they had the doctors come in and kind of stop the match, which like we hadn't really seen that really happen at that time. That's kind of like when that was being introduced, like the stoppage. And I remember like it was quite a long time, and as soon as the doctors were done with Punk, like the crowd was dying. Like it was like a couple of minutes where nothing was going on. They were just dead, like because we were there live. They were just dead, like not even moving or anything. And as soon as like Punk was, I guess, released from the doctors, he just immediately went from 0 to 1,000 and just went and totally just started going crazy on Rey just to try and get the crowd back as much as he could. And I thought that was it kind of showed you that he's actually like listening to the crowd and trying to get the right reactions out of the match and keep him tuned in.
It speaks a lot to Punk the performer that he would do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And my favorite part of the match is after the end of it, where Punk is handcuffed to the rope still. Ray's shaving his head, and he's still bleeding out of his head.
I know. That was incredible.
Pieces of hair getting stuck on his face in the blood.
That would burn.
It was hilarious.
Yeah, that's...
It was such chaos going on at ringside there. It was very, very funny.
I miss him.
So,
Come back.
so my wrestler that I'd like to appreciate is Kane for the Royal Rumble in 2014 when he pulled Punk out of the ring, chokeslammed him through a table, and then Punk was never to be seen again.
Punk was never seen again. It was written off TV after that.
Nice.
Thank you, Kane.
Thanks a lot, Kane.
My wrestler I'm appreciating is Brock Lesnar. Brock, ever since he even came into the company, has been just a powerhouse. He beat The Undertaker in Hell in a Cell, which not too many people can say they've done. Mm-hmm. So, props to him. And that spot where he tore the ring open on Sunday was absolutely amazing.
Oh, that was pretty awesome.
I'm all about Brock this week.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, he's definitely was very impressive. Okay, so since it is Halloween, we figured we'd do a little fun segment. And I'm just going to go through a list here, courtesy of whatculture.com. And it's their list of the top 10 scariest WWE superstars of all time. So I'm just going to go through the list, and then if you guys have any comments, you just jump right in and just feel free to state your opinion. Okay, so number 10 on this list, we have Doink the Clown.
So, Brad, how many Doink the Clown matches have you ever seen?
This is a horrible, horrible confession I'm about to make, but I have never, ever seen a Doink the Clown match.
Travesty. You need to go back and see at least one. You have to see at least one.
I mean, I don't really care to be honest, because
you need to.
He's Doink. But if Doink's heel work, I hear, was amazing.
Oh,
but the Doink the Clown I know is the goofy, stupid clown that jumps around the ring every now and then on Raw, and I don't want to see that.
His heel theme music is one of the scariest songs they've ever had in WWE. Like, especially because clowns in general are just freaky and spooky. But like the music that they chose for his heel character was just added so much, and for that alone, I could definitely see why he's on this list. Okay, so let me move on now to number 9. Number 9, we have Viscera.
A lot less scary when he was Big Daddy V.
or
Agreed.
Oh, what did they call him?
Mabel.
Mabel.
No, what did he have? He had that like that.
Big Vis.
Yeah, I don't know. I forget what.
One of the biggest travesties in WWE history was Mabel winning the King of the Ring.
Oh, I think to me that's when King of the Ring, like that was in '95.
Yes.
Which obviously when Austin won, then it meant something. But like even till now, it shows you that like, you know, with Billy Gunn winning and King Barrett and
the last good King of the Ring winner was King Booker. Okay, at least they played that out. He had this beautiful coronation ceremony which we attended. It was awesome. Charmel was amazing. The pinky, the whole getup, and he actually was a threat. He was actually winning.
Won the world title.
Yeah, exactly. It showed, like, look, I'm the king, and I'm going to prove I'm the king because I'm going to win the world title. Now, it's nothing. It's a pre-show match on the pay-per-view if you're lucky.
He's the only black world champion WWE's ever had.
He's awesome. I love Booker T.
Okay.
That's a hell of a record, though.
So, number 8, Gangrel.
Love that he's on this list, but I think he should be higher up than number 8.
No, I think he's about right at number 8.
No, he was okay. His entrance. I'm sorry, nothing trumps his entrance.
Sorry, you mean the Brood's entrance?
Whatever, it's still his.
Without the Brood, there would be no Gangrel.
Well,
Just
without Gangrel, there'd be no Edge and Christian because he taught them a lot.
Yeah, but they got over on their own.
Eventually. Yeah. But you know what I mean?
I'm glad we both said eventually.
No, Gangrel was a cool character, and he fit the time that he was there. Like,
yeah, like
everybody was kind of like had like a
his gimmick failed insanely later on when Kevin Thorne attempted it.
Yeah,
but
because it wasn't appropriate for the time,
and it wasn't authentic either. Gangrel was creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think he legitimately has like
raining blood on people.
He actually has like fang teeth. Did he get them implanted or something?
He must have. Okay, number 7, Jake the Snake Roberts.
Scary in that he acted like a serial killer.
Yeah, I think they mean scary like in terms of his promo style, which was very like dark,
cryptic,
and menacing,
and creepy, and awesome.
Like the way he talked and his tone was so dark. Even though like when he came out, he was a fan favorite.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
He was very monotone.
Yeah, very monotone, and like he kind of seemed like on edge. Like you didn't know like what he was gonna do.
But that's what he's actually like, because we met him, and that's just how he is. Like when he was talking,
like even though he's talking,
when he was talking, he was probably coked out of his head.
No, we just saw him
about
recently.
to say the same thing.
No, he's clean now.
Have you guys seen Behind the Mat?
He's
and so was Scott Hall up until a couple months ago.
Yeah, I mean like they're doing good now with like all that DDP yoga and everything. Okay, number 6, Bray Wyatt.
I agree.
Agreed.
I agree. I think he should at least be top 5. But that's me.
I'm good with where he's positioned.
That's me being a Wyatt mark. But honestly, a Bray mark, yes. But honestly, Bray is who in the last 10 years is scarier than Bray Wyatt? Really? He's got these really creepy followers that follow him around.
Mm-hmm.
Thus the Fireflies.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's more of a cool factor, but the scary parts were when he would have like the children.
Yeah, the kids were. Yeah, that was something else.
Like the kids were. Creepy.
Although I did not agree with Cena losing a cage match because he was scared of a child.
No.
Well, actually, if you talk to Nikki Bella, it sounds about right.
Wow!
What a dig there.
Shots fired. Maybe the kid should have been in a wedding dress too.
All right, number 5, Papa Shango.
No.
No, Papa Shango making Ultimate Warrior vomit. Okay, is like a very, very famous scene, backstage segment with I almost said Undertaker, with Ultimate Warrior is laying on the gurney and Papa Shango does this weird voodoo spell, and then you see Ultimate Warrior puking profusely. Amazing, so good.
I think his biggest downfall was just the timing that like this character came, because at the time I think it was around like 94, 95. That's when we started seeing like the Bretts and the Shawns, and like that's what people were into at that time. They wanted to see like more like in-ring abilities, more instead of like supernatural characters. And
Papa Shango's scariest gimmick was when he became the Good Father.
The Good Father?
The Good Father. Well, yeah.
Oh my God, now I remember. Yeah, that's pretty bad. That's
it almost feels like the right to censor they won because like there's no blood, there's no like,
yeah. They would have worked now.
Yeah.
Oh, they'd be the
Now.
biggest heels ever right now. Okay, number 4, Mankind.
Yes.
Mankind when he first debuted. Yes.
Oh,
like
yeah.
pulling
when he
out
was
his
living,
hair.
yeah, when he was pulling out his hair and living in boiler rooms and
Interviews.
yeah,
and random
Mick Foley himself is a
places.
scary dude because he's like a walking science experiment. He's missing so many parts of his body.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, like when Mankind first showed up, he was messed up, like a genuinely deranged guy.
Yeah.
And you were worried for him because he was willing to put himself through more than his opponents,
Yeah,
right?
he's
So
kinda like on that like kind of psycho almost.
But at
Yeah.
least he always told you to have a nice day.
later on, yes.
later on, yeah, eventually. Okay, number 3, we got the Boogeyman.
Okay. His
Darren, get in on this. Darren's been waiting all show
yeah.
for this. He's putting the boogeyman.
He's the best. He's the best.
okay.
He
his,
comes out, he eats worms.
I know.
My favorite
And he
boogeyman.
breaks a clock on his head.
I don't care about
and
him breaking the clock on his head.
He terrorizes WWE
My-
headquarters for Halloween.
My favorite boogeyman moment ever. Do you guys remember the cabinet? JBL's
Yeah,
Oh
stable.
my God! Yes.
When he ate the growth off of Jillian Hall's
Oh, yeah.
face. I was like,
Oh God! I
oh
forgot
my
about
God,
that.
what about...
That's so
'cause
disgusting?
First of all, nobody had any idea what the hell that thing was.
that was disgusting.
like, it looked like it had like seashells and a bunch of
Ew.
other
I
random
can't
stuff
believe
in
that
it.
they even did that. Like that she even had that.
I think it was a Tootsie Roll.
Yeah, it was something like that. And Boogie Roll... Boogie Roll. and Boogeyman ate it off her face.
Yeah,
I was like...
that was gross.
disgusting. That was
so
I think that
gross.
That was
warrants a
gross.
spot on this top 10 list.
Absolutely.
and feeding people worms too is
Yeah, he would beat them with
Awesome.
like, worms in their mouth, and like the worms were like covered in like mud. Like they weren't like clean, like nice worms. They were like gross,
They
like
weren't cute worms.
dirty worms. Like so, that was just bad. And then sometimes he would be like foaming like stuff from his mouth, and just like
No teeth, but he got them all removed.
He just sucked them all back. You know? That's all. It was all good.
the Boogeyman.
Boogeyman was a gross person.
Okay, number 2, we got Kane.
Original Kane kidnapping Lita Kane.
When Kane was first unmasked, he was pretty scary. But when he first debuted is probably when he was the scariest.
Yeah.
Because he gave off a whole like Michael Myers,
That's
Leatherface vibe. Because
That's gotta be Kane.
That's gotta be Kane. That's gotta be Kane.
And then the whole like Paul Bearer like turning on Undertaker and going amazing. That was good work, Kane. That was good work, WWE back then. That was awesome.
My Undertaker.
I miss Paul Bearer.
I don't.
Yeah.
I do. I liked his promos. They were creepy.
Like I was a kid when Kane first came, and like he was scary. He was a scary dude.
Yeah. Well, what an impression, ripping
Oh,
the
it rips
door
the-
off Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
And then tombstoning Undertaker. Like,
But what, isn't that a steel cage door? Like it was probably already unhinged.
oh, obviously it was worked, but
Yeah.
It was
he
like,
made
come
it
on.
look real.
He did. He made it look real.
Oh, it looked real. Yeah, because he kind of struggled with it.
and he
I'm
flexed
like,
his muscles.
Okay.
Well, Glenn Jacobs is a big dude.
I
But
know.
even like he didn't.
Not as muscly anymore.
He didn't even fully like take the door off. Like he's kind of had to step through it after. Just so I mean, I'm sure it was still attached in some form. It wasn't like he just like lifted off and threw it into the crowd like Brock or something. But
Yeah, and then randomly
No,
hits
that's
some
car
man in the
doors.
head.
car
No,
doors.
Those
he
are car
threw a
doors.
monitor.
Car doors,
He
TV
threw the
monitors.
monitor.
Yeah, he threw a monitor into the crowd. That was
But I
funny.
mean, like, so he looked scary enough that he can rip the door off, but not like over the top that he just like rips it off like it's a joke or something. And then obviously like with all the fire, like we haven't really seen anything like that at that time. So he was just a freaky dude. And then with Paul Bearer and the Undertaker, obviously everything was,
Awesome.
yeah.
Everything is awesome.
All right, number 1, the Undertaker.
There's
only
there's
person-
nobody more
yeah.
appropriate for the
That's
top of that
the
list.
only person that could be at the top of that list.
Yeah.
The things that he did, I mean, coffin, buried alive matches.
Crucifying Austin.
Like, yeah, like, there's nobody that is
Like-
even on his level.
Marrying.
Yeah, trying to marry
The
Stephanie.
Black Wedding with
Yeah,
Stephanie.
like where he implied he was gonna rape her. Like it was intense stuff. Like Ministry Undertaker was terrifying.
Yeah, like they were doing like rituals. Like I think he did one where he was like making like Midian like drink blood or something to like convert him to like
yeah,
satanic stuff.
and like how he
He was like cutting like his wrists. And
Stuff like that should be what Bray Wyatt's doing right now. I'm not saying to that extent, but if you're going to carry somebody backstage, make it look like a ritual, show
Have
the
a
results of the ritual.
Yeah, have a ritual.
Have Undertaker be like Bray's minion now or something for like the month leading up to their feud, and Kane fighting to get him back or something like that.
What happened at Hell in a Cell is basically Undertaker was a little bit tired. He got, put through the mat.
Yeah,
Wyatt's carried him out. They take him backstage. Undertaker thanks them for giving him a lift.
Thanks for the ride, guys.
You bring up a good point, because let's say they're going to have this Survivor Series match. Like, it's not like The Undertaker and Kane are just going to show up because Bray Wyatt released them. Like they should have
somebody has to save them.
They should have them either get saved, I guess, or just somehow escape. Like, maybe they should do a backstage vignette where they could see like The Undertaker and Kane tied up or something, and Bray Wyatt talks and he's mocking them, and then maybe like the next week, like they have them. You see, like, the ropes are untied or something.
They've escaped.
Like, they've gotten away and Bray's freaking out.
In the same vein as a backstage vignette, why not have a backwoods vignette?
There you go.
To go with the whole Wyatt family
I know.
vibe.
They showed all these
They
creepy
showed the
wood
compound,
cabins and everything, and then they never showed it again.
Never showed it again.
Never again. Suddenly, they now live in the inner city and in a condo, and it's awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of dumb. Like, have them go back to that house where they shot all their promos and show, like, Kane and Undertaker, like, in the basement tied up or something. Yeah. With, like, markings on their foreheads or something like that. Like a W. Like a W on their forehead.
Oh, like a Walking Dead or something.
Or like a Wyatt.
Oh, Wyatt, yeah. Could do that.
But, yeah, have that. And then show them the next week, like you said, like, their chairs are empty and, like, the ropes are gone and, like, Undertaker and Kane have escaped and they send some cryptic promo like, we're going to find some partners and kick your asses or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or like, this isn't over or something. Like,
yeah, exactly.
To that effect. So then you're like, oh, man. Because, like, if they literally just say, Triple H and Stephanie say, guess what, everyone? Undertaker and Kane against Bray Wyatt. It's like, really? Like, what did Wyatt do? Just, like, beat him up and then say, all right.
And that's Triple H and Stephanie getting involved in an angle that doesn't involve them again.
Oh, yeah, I'm just... like, I don't want, like,
Shocker,
Michael Cole to say, we just heard.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, they should make it so that, like, the match is almost, like, created by the members that are actually in it, rather than some authority or like an announcer just saying, oh, guess what, everyone, tune in on the WWE network to watch this tag team match. Like, show me that I have that this match, there's no possible way that this show can go on without this match being like forced upon us, kind of, where it's like the Undertaker is literally and Kane are like, we're gonna kill the Wyatts at Survivor Series. I'd watch that. Like Michael Cole just being like, all right, you heard it.
So that's happening.
Like, for only $9.99, you get to see murder.
Yeah, for only $9.99. What's the price of a human life? $9.99.
You could pay $54.99, but you'd be an idiot.
Yeah,
so.
but you'd be an idiot.
Okie dokie. So, very cool top 10 list. So happy Halloween, everybody. We are quickly going to pick our superstar pick of the month. We did our appreciation. So now we're going to do a superstar pick.
Sure, I'll go first. So to me, the guy that's impressed me over the past couple of weeks, as long as he doesn't have a microphone in his hand, is Roman Reigns. I thought he had a...
That was me throwing up.
That was a real...
No pun intended, a hell of a match on Sunday. With Bray Wyatt in the cell, and then followed up with an amazing Fatal 4-Way match on Raw. Now he's the number one contender for Seth, and we already talked. I think Dean is going to turn on him for that match. But yeah, so I'm going to say a Roman Reigns pick of the month.
My pick of the month is, well, really the same as my appreciation. I'm going to go with Brock Lesnar again. Simply for the fact that he beat The Undertaker in Hell. He has beaten The Undertaker in Hell in a Cell twice. There is nobody else that can say they've done that, and that is one hell of an achievement, so I'm going to go with Brock.
I am back and forth on mine, but I think I'm going to go with Sasha Banks because I thought that her heel work at TakeOver was incredible. Apart from her in-ring skill, which we know she has, but just to take being a heel to a completely different level, and to involve a child who is obviously innocent in the whole thing, just ups her game, and she's awesome, and I hope to see more of her.
My future wife.
All right, so that concludes our special spooky Halloween edition of the Squared Circle podcast. We thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next time.
Bye, everybody.
And thanks for Brad for joining us.